Welcome back to Small Caps, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kerry Stevenson, and I've asked Truth Bomb Tony back by popular demand because you're all saying, where's Tony? Where's Tony? Something happened to Tony? No, nothing's happened to Tony, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, it's been a busy month. We've had the vertical events, the RIU Sydney Resources Roundup down in Sydney at the beginning of May. Tried to fit in a Tony interview just before that, but hey, sometimes things get a little bit busy. Then, of course, we had the Reed corporate event up here on the Gold Coast, the Resources Rising Stars, with the best party. It was the ABBA tribute band. Oh, my goodness me, I forgot I knew every word to every ABBA song. That was a lot of fun. But more importantly, meeting up with investors, meeting up with companies, seeing people face to face. There is nothing better, in my opinion, rather than sitting behind the keyboard, sitting in front of the screen. I know you're doing that now, but there's more coming up. We've got Vertical Events have got their Gold Coast Investor Showcase on the 21st and 22nd of June up here on the Gold Coast. And not to forget, Phil Dickinson's got his Noosa Mining Conference in July. And by memory, do you remember the dates of the one in July? It is the
No.
20 to 22nd July, I think. You know what? I hate to do this, but I'm going to do it very quickly for you, Tony. Just sit quietly, Tony, because I want to make sure I get this one right. If I didn't, 19 to 21 July at Noosa. So lots of conferences coming up, Tony. Lots of chances for people to go and talk to the executives of these companies. But meantime, welcome back to Small Caps. Been a little while. Sorry about that, Tony.
Yeah, it does happen. And I actually went to Reed Corporate's event, and it's all about the vibe. Royal Pines, love it. We made a holiday out of it, went hiking up in the Lamington National Park. But more importantly, apart from trying to discover alcohol-free beer, which they didn't serve any, that's a tip there for future conference people.
Okay, Nicholas Reed, did you hear that? There was no alcohol-free beer. And our friend Tony, he's not drinking alcohol for a whole year. Good on you.
Yeah, get your shit together, guys. So, we went hiking, and what came out of that conference was a few gems. There's always to talk to people, to listen to presentations, to get the vibe of investors. They're a lovely bunch of people up at Reed event. There's people there that are probably well into their 80s. So, and they like catching up with me every year. I feel like a mini celebrity up there. And
steady on.
Well, mini. I'm talking B grade. Yeah, I'm probably a big fish in a small pond. But I came away with Gascoigne. Gascoigne, I thought, was the pick of that bunch. 11.5 cents. I think it hit 15 a couple of days ago. And there's quite a few other explorers I was looking at. Picked up a Linetown hat, which comes in handy when I'm playing tennis. Congrats, 2 cents to $2.75. And I've noticed that by going to these conferences, you can always come out with a gem. And the best thing is you get a free feed as well.
Oh, stop it.
And that ABBA night, yes, they were, it was on the tennis courts, and that was good. Yeah, I just went nuts for they were anchovies. They were divine. And the caviar. You could have got your money's worth in caviar and anchovies. So awesome event. And no doubt a lot of viewers should get to these conferences.
Yeah, and down in Sydney at the Vertical Events one, we had the ABC Bullion Party, which was a heck of a lot of fun. And actually, ABC Bullion have just opened. Now, this is interesting, Tony. They've just opened their flagship retail store at Martin Place. Boy, do those people know how to throw a party. They've opened up a retail store right on Martin Place, and they say they've never been busier than they are right now, which is pretty interesting for, I guess, the general vibe of gold. But look, let's just go back to the markets right now. Let's focus in, because that's what people want to hear. And for me, it feels like being dragged through treacle, that nothing much is happening. No one's joyful. Everyone's a bit sort of doom and gloom. Potential another interest rate hike. Ladies and gentlemen, stop shopping. they'll keep raising the rates until they see that all this spending is slowing down. But until you slow down a little bit, I reckon these rates are going to keep going higher and higher. What are your thoughts, Tony?
I call it being sandpapered to death by Dave Hughes. Can you just imagine that? That'd be worse than treacle. So we blame the boomers, but you got to look at where they had to work hard. They've had the biggest increase in their net worth by sitting on their backsides. They've got every right to spend money. We've just got everything happening with inflation. What is it, 6.8%?
Yeah.
Good luck. It's like whack-a-mole. Good luck getting it back into the target band. But it's been a perfect storm where people can't get rentals, so they're too scared to sell. Otherwise, they're going to have to move in with their in-laws. So it's a window for people to get themselves out of trouble. But we're in for some nasty times on the economy. There's just no relief in sight. We've had it far too easy. We've gone out. We've been consumers. We've bought so much rubbish. You should see the curbside cleanups coming, for God's sake. People have to go out and buy chest freezers just in case the world ended. Look, treadmills, you'll find them dumped in bushes. We spent far too much money. We became addicts to getting handed money, and now it's all going to end. And I'm going to call it that 70s show, because that's where we're going. We're going back to the 70s, stagflation, which is probably worse than being sandpapered to death. But during that time, gold and silver to the moon, Kerry. They went, I think silver went up 8 times.
Yeah.
So the world economically is turning to shit. It's around Australia, Canada, New Zealand, not looking good. China, well, that's been threatening to pop for years. You've got Japanese stocks back past the record high as well.
Tony, I'm going to stop you for a second, because
please do.
You do the doom and gloom bit for places like Canada, the US, Japan, perhaps China. But I'm looking at it and I'm seeing it's almost like there's a shift in the world. And I'm saying this because I'm looking at India, for example, Southeast Asia. There is a lot of growth happening in Southeast Asia. And by a lot of growth, I'm saying that there's growth in people wanting to have more material things in India, for example, in Indonesia and that Southeast Asia region, which means they need more electric vehicles, they need more refrigerators and chest freezers, as you said, maybe the occasional treadmill. But that says to me, if you forward think it, there's going to be a big demand on commodities, even though people are saying we've got enough. I think that there's a gap and it's coming. And I think that potentially people could get themselves really well set right now where the doom and gloom is happening. And I agree with you about gold and silver. Right now, I think, again, ladies and gentlemen, do your own research, talk to a financial advisor. But, this is a conversation that Tony and I are having about what we think. It is not necessarily about what you should do, because we don't know your personal circumstances. But I agree with you, Tony. Back in the 70s, gold went flying. It also happened just as at the global financial crisis. Again, gold and latterly gold stocks had a really good run. So all I'm saying is I think it feels to me like we're in the eye of the storm, if you like. Nothing much is happening, but when it does, maybe it's going to be taking people by surprise.
Well, I think the issue is maybe Bill Gates can buy 600 million Indians a toilet. They don't have freaking toilets. So they need to get their sanitation right. This rock star leader of the country, Little India, Harris Park and Modi, whatever. And the other thing is the country coming through has been Brazil, but that's been a bigger gunner than Axl Rose and Navarone combined. Brazil was on the front page of The Economist, God knows how many years ago. So, yeah, there is a shift, but I just think we've got a lot of crap to work through. You look at cities like San Francisco, if you follow Clown World on Twitter, there's homeless everywhere. It's all turning to shit. They'll just go in and steal stuff from Walmart or Target. In Australia, they'll just push a trolley and steal meat, which now has got security protection. So I think that we're hanging on by a thread of not seeing an uptick in crime. So if we can come through this, I think to an extent, Australia could be the safe haven. And I always believe that we're an outside chance of PE expansion, meaning that our stock market might actually become overvalued. Like, it's not going to be a Japan where the Nikkei was 52 times earnings. I just think that the money could actually flow here eventually once we have a reset. And that's my view. I think America's decaying. You look at some of the other countries, you're right. Maybe South America is going to have a resurgence. India has also been threatening to boom. I think they've got the largest population now. I think they've just overtaken China.
Yep.
But Indians, give them a cricket bat and they're stoked. Send Brett Lee over. That's all they want. They just care about cricket and they don't even bother saving up for a toilet.
Okay, so Tony, what should our beautiful audience out there, I love our community. What should they be doing? Like, again, I don't want to make this financial advice, but that people are confused.
Well, look, let's just have a look at it. I wrote this book 22 years ago. It was called The Green Room. It's a guide to speculating on the stock market.
Why is it called The Green Room? That's where A-list celebrities go and hang out before they go and talk to Dave Hughes.
Well, you're going through a barrel. It's a part of the wave where you barrel. You either come out of it or you get smashed.
Eaten by a shark.
Well, they're dolphins. But I signed this book. It reads, "To my future third mistake," which is my Hungarian hottie. My portfolio is worth this. Let's check it in June 2023. And this reflects a bear market. I'm down a shitload of money. So I'm going to actually put this book away. But this has been a very painful bear market, 18 months.
We've had 18 months of a really shocking market. And what I want to know is it going to continue to go on for another 18 months, or do you see us coming out the other side?
I think we get bored with chronically underpriced stocks. As much as having stocks overvalued gets boring as well. Believe it or not, bull markets become too much. I think small caps are raising money now. They've found the level where people are willing to put money in. And in a recovery, let's remember that only a small percentage of investors are genuine long-term investors. A lot of others will take the placement, take the fee and flip and move on to the next deal. It's the fee and flip model. And that's your first level of resistance. What I've noticed is I've sat here and watched screens for 25 years.
Yeah,
I see traders coming back to these lithium stocks. Put a project in James Bay into a lithium company and you go through the roof. I've seen traders come in and they're bidding much larger orders and these stock rallies are extending. So I think the trading environment is there for any company to come out with really exciting news. And I think you're a chance of overshooting to the upside. So I've never been more enthusiastic about my companies. I'm looking at the fundamentals and eventually markets do return to fundamentals.
Okay, so what are some of the companies that are you prepared to share a few with us on this conversation? Listen, Tony, I haven't spoken to you for a month. Time we've shared a little bit of love to our audience.
Yeah. I've actually got what I said today. I've declared Morona. If I had to own one stock, I'd have my entire net wealth in Morona Metals.
Why?
Because
it's silver, isn't it?
They keep putting out visual lead silver results and high grades at surface, and they've got a copper gold plate below, and there could be more mineralization below that. And there's 100 million ounces of silver. There's lead. I mean, lead still is going to have a use in society. And they're 90 k's from Cannington. And the the funny thing is, no one knows about this stock. No one cares about it. No one can get any excited on visual galena, which is lead sulfide. Lead is still worth money. There's still value in the ore. And sadly, if they can't get the share price up, someone will just come in and take them over. So I must disclose that my clients and I own about 15% of the company. So
by the way, ladies and gentlemen, sorry to interrupt you. The ASX code is MMA, currently
mixed
trading.
martial arts. Yeah.
What's that?
Mixed martial arts, I call it.
Yeah. So their market cap's only about 17 mil, trading at 22 cents a share. I think they closed at today. So what you're saying is undervalued like most other things, but that's your favorite one.
Yeah, I'll just correct you. There is some more shares in escrow. So it's capped at 34, but Red Metal, which is also listed, owns half of it. These stocks are cheap till they're not. I'm looking at one of my biotechs, Chimeric, run by Jennifer Chow. You've interviewed her.
Can I tell you, before you go on to Chimeric, I just want everyone to know, Jennifer Chow is one of the nicest humans I've ever come across. She's working in the sort of cancer therapy area and went out of her way to talk directly to someone very close to me that's going through some troubling times. So, Jennifer, if you are listening to this, you're an absolute legend. Thank you. So why do you like them so much, Tony?
Because they've had the absolute crap beaten out of them all the way from 30 cents down to 3.8. Done absolutely nothing wrong. I think the cruel part about this industry is if brokers know you're running out of money and investors know that you're going to have to raise, you just get belted and then you can't raise at that level. And then you're on this hurdy-gurdy. Any drug that can extend the life of someone with glioblastoma is a win for me.
Yeah.
Also got, I think it's CDH17, which knocked out 7 types of cancers completely. Admittedly, it's in engineered mice, and they've got NK, natural killer cells. I just think it's an exciting stock that can multi-bag, but sadly, it's going to be off the 3 cent level, which sucks. But that's how bear markets operate, Kerry.
Yeah.
All these companies, I look at all the quality juniors. Oryaman went after lithium, didn't find it. Now's got just under 1 million ounces, capped at $5.6 million with a mill that needs refurbishing. It just gets beyond paranoid, and you only need a few shareholders to sell down. Companies need money to grow. The good operators have gone out, raised the money, and are going to go drilling. And there's a stock that I'm looking at, Mako Gold.
Oh, I love Mako Gold. Peter and Anne Ledwidge. Yeah, great people.
Yeah. So all he's done is go out and he'll be close to 1 million ounces of gold. He's got massive targets. All their auger drilling has worked. And he's just had probably an accidental manganese discovery, 14 kilometres of strike, close to an operating manganese mine. So they're 2.7. Well, actually, the funny thing is that manganese could be the last of the battery metals to run. So there are batteries. I think Elon Musk might have even mentioned it, but don't hold me to it. So they had to raise money. They were running out of money. So that gets belted. Then they have to raise money at a stupid price. But what I've noticed is you're going to have stock and options. So there's lots of paper. And once fundamentals kick in, I think my clients are going to do exceptionally well. And admittedly, at the moment, there's quite a bit of passive aggressiveness around. It's a nasty time because I put these clients in good stocks. They've done nothing wrong, but the market has made me look like a fool.
Yeah.
For now. And I think if you sell everything, you're betting against me not being able to continue 25 years of this. So it's a nasty time. I'm bullish, but it does get tiresome of defending a company's fundamentals because someone wakes up in a bad mood and belts the stock. So I just think the upside potential now is ginormous.
Yeah, and it's like Rick Rule said to me not so long ago. He remembers when he backed up the truck for Paladin when it was trading at less than a cent a share, and he bought a lot. And I think he I think it ran all the way up to $10. Now, that got belted just recently, but it's actually bounced back quite strongly. Their uranium over there in Namibia, but and the uranium price has strengthened. Now, I don't get it, Tony. Zero carbon emission, low cost, strong base load power, that's called uranium. But for some reason, the powers that be, the ones that control us, that's called the GOV, the government, they're actually turning around and saying, well, the voters don't like it, so we won't go there. But I've got a feeling that Australia, maybe it's South Australia to begin with, is going to start to change their mind about the fact that actually it's safe. The small modular reactors are even more fantastic. You can't even see them when you go through France, and France is like 80% run on nuclear power. And for everyone out there that starts complaining about their electricity bills going too high, well, vote nuclear power in. It'll bring your electricity prices down, no problem. What do you think, Tony?
Absolutely right. And at the moment, the sector doesn't create much excitement. And what we've had, lithium was going by the wayside till we had Liontown and Alchem. And, there's never-ending lithium projects in Canada being backdoored in, which reminds me of the end of the dot-com bubble. But I think there's also a lot of excitement around rare earths as well.
Which are not rare.
No, I think I'm going to float a company and call it Abundant Metals. Or Graham Drew from Ozquest said unobtainable metals.
We like that. Unobtainium is a great metal.
Yeah, that's it. So, I've wrote about this 23 years ago. The companies, to get a lift in the share price, just backdoor in a lithium or rare earths project. So the genuine companies have been neglected. And I think that I was involved in the uranium bubble 205, 206. There were a handful of uranium companies. By the end of it was about 150.
Yeah.
And correct. It went absolutely ape shit. I remember, I've told the story a few times, one of my clients actually saved Paladin from near death. We were up there buying with Rick Rule. I didn't make any money out of it. Otherwise, I certainly wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. So,
how rude.
Right. Rick's right. It's we're just waiting for what's going to be the next sector. Why don't we just have a good old gold and silver stock bubble and may the best traders win? Let's just do that.
Oh, let's do that. And come to the gold event, goldevents.com.au. That's the gold conference in Sydney in late August. Like, if you believe what Tony's saying is right, and I certainly do. I've been, I'm always very bullish on gold when things are tumbling around with no clear direction. But it's not just that, is it, Tony? It's governments turning around and saying, well, the way we're going to get through this is we'll raise the debt ceiling, we'll print more of the funny money. Let's just keep printing funny money until we get ourselves out of trouble. You can't keep kicking the can down the road without ramifications coming back to bite you.
No, absolutely not. And when I was looking through this wonderful book, the gold price at one point there was $251 US. Wow. And I was talking about the struggle through 300, but we still had a vibrant gold industry. So it's all relative. The gold price, less the costs, gives you profit margin. So the Australian gold price, last I looked, was $3,014 an ounce.
Correct.
Unbelievable. So you could produce at 2,000 all in sustaining. You're making $1,000 an ounce. So could our gold stocks become the next iron ore stocks and be like banks and pay dividends? Let's hope so. But
some of them already do, Tony. I mean, Evolution pays. And in fact, I think Evolution, you can choose to have your dividend paid in physical gold with Evolution, I believe. I don't think that's changed, but Evolution pays a dividend. Northern Star, Regis, Ramelius, a lot of these companies the gold companies do pay a dividend. Might not be as big as some of the coal stocks and some of the oil and gases, but they're paying. And I think I agree with you. When that gap keeps widening, and as you say, if they're all in sustaining costs of 2 and the price is 3, $1,000 an ounce, do the maths on the back of an envelope, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and you're essentially, as long as they're making money, it doesn't matter really, but at least they're mining, they're creating jobs, and they're paying tax. So look, I admit that for the last year and change, I've had to watch other people make a lot of money in lower quality stocks. But what I reiterate to my clients is you don't want to be an addict to trading stocks. Once you're an addict to trading stocks, you're not going to win. You're not going to win at all. It's like saying, look, I'm great at playing the pokies at Rudy Hill RSL. Well, that's a load of crap. So it's just gambling. It's like shopping. It's like a shopping addiction. It's like porn. It's like any of these addictions. So I just say steady players make it through the bear markets. My aim is to guide as many clients as I can through these shit times. We're all down. We all don't make as much money. We all don't celebrate. We don't get those dopamine hits. But just all I can say is get off your ass, start lifting weights at the gym. It's the best thing I've ever done. So there you go.
He's going to get all high and mighty now, guys. He's off the grog. He's back to the gym. I'll give you this, Tony. You were looking very healthy and very slender when I saw you at the conference here on the Gold Coast recently. So it's clearly working.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm dropping shirt size now. I'm going to go to St. Vinny's and donate a lot of clothes, but you never know. I just think that life evolves. People that are long-term speculators have a great run. Tough times, Kerry, but we've got a smart audience. We've got great people. So just keep fighting. Probably my final words.
I was going to say, can I have your final? Give me 3 things that people should be doing right now. You know how I like to wrap it up. Give me 3 reasons. No, not reasons. 3 things people should be doing during this pretty tough bear market.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let small decreases in share prices throw you. Remember that the majority selling here, the majority in the end are wrong. And focus on what's important. And I mean, that's obviously just being a good family person. Don't break the law. And sometimes switch off social media, walk outside, or
hug a tree. Hug a tree.
Hug a tree. Just go walk on the beach. I mean, we've got all this crap going on in the world, but either set the DeLorean back to 1955 or turn off everything for a bit and just relax, because times are going to come where you're going to be making money again if you're playing it right. And the other tip I've got for everyone is put some money aside to pay the ATO.
Oh, yes. Make sure you do that. And Tony, there's a little orangutan back behind you there. So go hug your orangutan. And I promise you, we'll be back in a couple of weeks for another catch up. We'll see how much longer this bear market is going to continue. But for now, Tony Locantro, or should I say Truth Bomb Tony, thanks so much for joining me on Small Caps.
Always a pleasure, Kerry. See you soon.